Welcome to another show of Relentless Reviews, and today we have a very, very special show. Here I'm joined with Billy Campbell. He's been on frequent TV shows, including AMC's The Killing, and of course was the lead in my favorite movie of all time, as you can see here, The Rocketeer. And I'd consider him my childhood hero. So how are you doing today, Billy?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me on board.
Oh yes, this is awesome that we were going to be able to do this. So now I'll just get right into it, shall we? So I have a few questions that I'm curious about. First of all, you've been obviously acted in both movies and TV shows, and this is a question that is common, but I want to get your perspective. Now, being on so many TV shows and being in a few films, you know probably the differences between the two. In your mind, what do you prefer if you had to pick one? Like, which one do you find more fun and just, more interesting to do?
Between television and film?
Yeah, like doing TV shows and movies.
I would have to say altogether being in television, because a film, as you know, it maybe shoots for a month or sometimes quite a bit less, maybe a little more, and then you're done. With a television series, you not only get to create, it's sort of a long story form. You know what I mean? It's kind of the difference between reading a short story and reading a novel, in a way. And so you get to tell a story over time in long form, and you have time to develop a story, time to develop characters. And then on the work end of it, you get to work with a bunch of people for a long period of time. You get to make friends and live in one place, and so I prefer it both for the work situation and for the kind of the creative situation.
Yeah, I would bet. I've heard a lot of times actors have mentioned that, and plus it allows more of your character to develop because of the fact that it's spread out into seasons, obviously more character development. And I think actors like that a lot, and actresses as well. So that's really cool. So now, this is a little nostalgic, I guess, but how much do you think, personally, first of all, your voice hasn't changed in 20 years, god damn it. What do you think, though, has changed for you as an actor since The Rocketeer? I mean, it was your lead, you were as a lead role, and then you went to, as I said, a lot of TV shows. What do you think changed for you since The Rocketeer, if anything?
Well, I mean, television has diversified in that time. There's a lot more sort of edgy stuff on TV, and the quality of stuff to be found, of programming to be found is, I would venture to say, better than it was. So it's not quite, when I first got into the business, it was almost a little bit of a, you were either a TV actor or you were a film actor, and sort of television was kind of looked down on a little bit by film actors, I think, or film people. And it's not the case anymore. In fact, I think some of the very best jobs to be had are in television.
Yeah.
So, unless you're an A-list movie star, you're which I'm not. You're just as well. I feel that I'm just as well off doing television for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, in that sense, the thing that's changed, I guess, the most in that amount of time is that it's the job, the television's just gotten better.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you mentioned some of the bigger actors, Sean Bean. I don't know if you know who he is, but he was in Lord of the Rings. Now he's in Game of Thrones. You mentioned years and years ago he might not have accepted that because he would have thought, oh, television, I'm better than that. But I mean, it sounds like you've been more willing to do it than anybody, it seems, even back then. So that's really great. Shows you have a lot of versatility, I guess you would call it. But yeah, for sure. So now this is going to be a cliched question. Listen to me, question that I just need to ask you because you've been my childhood hero forever. Do you have a favorite movie? And if possible, it's not one that you acted in. Do you have a certain favorite movie maybe a favorite director that you always seem to look at and say, that's someone who I've always idolized?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't really sort of tend to think that way. But the first movie that pops into my head is Amelie. I don't know. I love that movie.
Is it because it sounds like Ollie?
Maybe. No, Amelie is a favorite film, and I don't know. I'm sort of all over the map with favorite films. But Amelie, as I say, is the first thing that pops into my mind. As far as directors go, I don't know. I like
There's
a lot
plenty
of
to choose from.
I like a lot of different people for different reasons. But some of my favorite directors I've worked with just in TV on these TV series. But it'd be hard for me to pick one off the top of my head.
Yeah, I couldn't blame you either. I mean, I could just say Joe Johnston because he did make my favorite film, but as you mentioned, I mean, there's so many other directors out there to choose from. But, speaking of which, now, being on AMC's The Killing, you obviously play a politician with, I guess, sort of a mysterious side to him. Watching the first season as I did, you wonder about his past, what his character's like, being a politician. So, I was kind of curious, watching you as a politician, did you in any way, shape, or form try to maybe sort of say, put yourself after some sort of particular politician, so sort of model yourself as one from the past that might have been real, or was it just sort of your own?
No, no, I didn't do anything like that. I just tried to figure out who the person was. I don't really. I guess I'm not sure. I believe in a person's occupation really defining who they are, at least in terms of trying to play someone. It's more like, people are people, and they're that person no matter what they do for a living or a hobby. So no, I didn't. Short story, no, I didn't model myself on anyone. I just tried to understand to the best of my limited capabilities the character.
Right. So is there any particular, whether it's film or television, I guess this would be more in the line of a superhero, but plenty of actors and actresses come out and say, oh, I wish I could act in this role or be this person or be this famous character. Is there any particular character that you would have loved to be in, whether it's maybe a superhero or a famous character in general that's in a movie? Any you can think of at all?
No, I don't think so. I mean, who wouldn't want to be, Captain Sparrow,
Right.
Or, I don't know. I tend to think in terms of, types of movies. I'd love to do a Western. I'd love to do a seafaring film. I like period films. I like films that are not of the present era. I like futuristic films, sci-fi films. I like all kinds of films. I like well-made film, no matter where it's set. But I'm partial to period films.